Hey guys and ladies, I'm 2064 and this is going to be a rundown of what a new player would be going through in PSO2 New Genesis, or NGS for short. In this guide, I'm going to briefly talk about where you should go and what you should do first after customizing your character and choosing your starting class. The requirements for progression were pretty straightforward when we lacked the options. Currently, the level cap is 40 and is accompanied by a lot of what I would call distraction gears, so it can be confusing to what a new player should focus on. If you just started or about to begin your fantasy and want some guidance, then this PSO2 New Genesis, or NGS for short, guide is for you. So let's cut the opening and get started. And right off the bat, we have a user agreement consent. Just check the box to claim that you have read and will agree to Sega's terms and policy. First thing, ships are the servers in PSO2, and you can only play with others on the same ship. Majority of the player base is on ship 2 because of legacy following, but I'll just start on ship 1 for this video. Next, we have this account link system for those that have started a character at some point before on a different platform. I'm playing this currently on Steam, and this gives me the option to link an account from Xbox/Microsoft Store or from Epic Games. The process is relatively straightforward from the instructions they have, but I'll link a video by Gemma in the description that goes over the process pretty well. As for new players, we can just ignore this and select no. This is just to confirm, yes, and let's move on. Now, this is a unique default name of your account, and you can change this at any point for free the first time. I highly recommend changing this to something more suitable as an account name. This is just the primary display of the controls for in-game interactions. It doesn't limit you to just using one type of control. You can use both keyboard, mouse, and gamepad at the same time if you want to. I'm going to be selecting gamepad because I'm more used to it. I'll showcase the keyboard version in a more in-depth tutorial video later. From here, if we go to the support menu, there's the option to change your player ID. Remember, the first change is free. You can change this subsequently as many times as you want with a 30-day cooldown, but it will cost Arx Cash, PSO2's version of real money currency. Also, here in the support menu, you could start customizing the controls for keyboard, mouse, and gamepad if you want to. It might be better to do that during the tutorial so you could get a better feel for the customization. Ooh, character creation time. For some of you, this is going to be your first ordeal. You can pause the video and come back if you're going to take a while. I'm going to be going with the NGS Lupica. Now, the next thing is to choose what class you want to play. The class info playback gives a short snippet of what to expect for each class. For this video, I'm just going to start with Hunter. So, half of the tutorial is filled with cutscenes. Watch them if you are into the story. If you decide to skip the cutscenes, rush the tutorial, you would probably finish in under 15 minutes. Take your time if you're enjoying it and get used to the controls. You won't be able to change the weapon palette or sub palette until you finish the initial single player experience. There are no fail conditions in the tutorial, so you'll eventually finish it. If you are playing this like a traditional RPG, question for you: which NPC has a crush on Aina? Leave your answer in the comments below. Once you have unlocked the login bonus, that's when you are done with the required tutorial. You also unlock multiplayer mode, so this is when you can actually start playing with others. The main focus from here is to follow and clear as much of the main quest as possible, because other areas in the world is still locked behind the story progression. So the next sequence of main quests is still a tutorial to get you situated with the world. One small hiccup might be at the second cocoon here, where you have to fight an enhanced enemy. They basically have like an 80-90% damage resist while the enhancer part is on them. So the gist is pop that pimple looking enhancer and then you could do normal damage. I'm also showcasing here that as long as you clear the main mission, you will get the skill point rewards in these cocoons and towers. Right after this, we can now access the class counter to use skill points or change class. Since we are technically still in tutorial, this is the best time progression-wise to try out other classes you are interested in and get a feel for the photon arts or techniques. This is also when you can finally try out Braver and Bouncer. I will link a post of the current meta skill tree build for all classes in the description. Use it at your own discretion as a guide to get a sense of what the class generally do. The game also provides us a weapon to use for all the classes at this point, so give the other classes a try. For this character as a sword hunter, I'm gonna use the first 2 points on getting access to a counter after guarding with the weapon action. In a bit, the game wants you to go through enhancing your weapon and will provide you all the necessary costs to enhance a 1-star weapon for your current class. Just enhance it to a +1 to progress the quest. We don't have to upgrade gear just yet at our current level. The very next quest is our first battle power requirement at 830, and looking at our current battle power, we're already at 822 and pretty close to leveling. Also, one thing to note is the next sequence of quests is going to unlock the personal shop for us, so we don't have to farm the early upgrades ourselves. What I'm going to do is grab the quest from the melee class trainer for Hunter located near the Ryuker within the city. Every class have one. This quest additionally gives a free 2-star default weapon for that class upon completion. A quick advice to keep in mind is to break these minerals sitting by edges of walls, rocks, and cliffs when you see them. There's a limited amount of them that can be obtained daily and they can spawn at different locations sometimes. These are all used in upgrading your gear in different ways and are also used in augment trade-ins. I will link an interactive map that can toggle materials and minerals to show where the general spawns are. Another quick reminder to also break green boxes for grinders. Although these are more common to come by, they are helpful to have in the early game. Now that we're level 7, let's check out battle power. It should be above 830. Another reminder, while you're exploring the world, be sure to look for and tag Ryuker devices, cocoons, towers, and trigger portals, as all of these can be used as a teleportation device. I will be linking a map of that for both regions as well, so use it as you like. Moving on with the main quest, we are now at 847 battle power because we equipped the 2-star weapon we received from the class trainer. This should be a good enough upgrade to get us through this quest. I'm going to skip to the boss and show a sped up version of how it goes. This could potentially be a wall for some because sometimes the attack don't look like it will connect, but actually goes over your character and splashes you on the backside. The movements are pretty telegraphed if you stay a little back and let his attacks come towards you for a counter, guard, or dodge. If you're a range or a technique user, you can pretty much just stay at a safe distance if you want. And in his second phase, he has a multiple ground pound finishes into a Hulk smash move. Otherwise, keep attacking, keep healing as needed, and you'll be able to finish. With that completed, we have leveled up to 8 and we're at 859 battle power. We have now also unlocked Mount Magnus as a combat sector. Notice on the top right corner of the minimap, there is a PSE burst meter, and on the top left corner, the amount of players in these zones are limited to 8. For now, tag the Ryuger in this zone. We will be coming back here for one of the upcoming tasks. Once you have reported back to Crawford, the next cutscene will unlock the personal shop for us. At this point, you can freely buy from others or put things up for sale if you have premium or shop pass. The next quest that could set us back is related to observing the initiation of a PSE burst. The gist of this mechanic is for leveling purposes, where the meter has a random chance to increase or decrease, and a PSE burst will happen once you have 4 meters and complete a T marker in the zone. During a PSE burst, the meter will start depleting and mobs will spawn around a pillar of bursting light in which they will continue to spawn as fast as you can clear them. Once the meter empties out, it will spawn a boss enemy. So in Mount Magnus, if you stayed there long enough without observing a PSE burst, the game now have a pity system where after 5 minutes have passed, the meter will not go down and you will eventually be guaranteed a burst. Note that you can only activate a burst from clearing a T marker. Oh, by the way, I also bought a 3-star sword since I met the level requirement at level 8. And do update your gear from the drop. Once you have completed the required task for Leia May, the next cutscene will finally unlock dailies for EXP and weeklies for Meseta. At this point, we're level 10 with 885 battle power. The next progression needs us to be 950 battle power. One thing to note is that I didn't do any extra cocoons or towers for skill points since the required 2 from the tutorial. So if I were to get all missing skill points that I can right now, I will be able to meet the necessary battle power. But half of these have enemies at level 15, so I will need to be a minimum of level 11 in order to clear it solo. If a higher level player is willing to help, they can easily clear it for you in a party. Since we have just unlocked the dailies, we can clear these for some quick EXP, and also most of Leia May's weekly EXP tasks are easy gathering. I will do these to push to level 10 and then get all the skill points afterwards. So unfortunately, I forgot to record the Trania's and Vanford lab progression when I took a break. But TLDR, got to level 11, did all the cocoons and towers for skill points. Make sure to apply all the skill points on your main class tree and your subclass tree in order for it to count towards the battle power. I didn't upgrade the gear since, so I still have a 3-star sword at 0 enhancement, 1-star armors across also at 0 enhancement. That was enough to clear the 950 battle power progression and unlock Vanford Lab. Afterwards, I picked up some easy side quests for EXP, especially the quest line from the guards in the city. The first one is going to be from Weston, which only gives 1000 EXP, but you need to clear it first. Then the rest of the guards will give 100,000 EXP each. One of which is from Eastman that I just cleared during the burst. Currently at level 14, we're at 1086 battle power and the progression is asking for 1100 battle power. We can quickly reach that now simply by updating our armors. I highly suggest just buying 3 gold armors. They are already at plus 20 by default, and you will most likely be using these later for enhancing your endgame armors. They are very affordable, especially with the weeklies unlocked. When you start the next progression, the quest wants you to do some searching by running around to these different points. But all you really need to go to are the trials marked in blue or green. To bring up the region map, by default, it should be mapped to the N key. N for nap. Like when you're sleepy, you take a nap on the map. If you're on Xbox, you can access this at the bottom of the quick menu, which is default to the view button. The enemies here are pretty tanky. Just make sure to heal and stock up on rest assigns as needed. This is going to be the toughest battle for many new players. Even before reaching the final boss, you have to deal with Bujin. If you are having a tough time with Bujin in general, a quick tip here is you can just kite and poke. Every time you see that purple flash, just move to the side a little and throw 1 or 2 hits, then back out and wait for another opening. Because if you're not comfortable fighting Bujin and you die here, you'll have to restart from the very beginning of this quest. So for the purpose of this video, I'm suggesting you take your time to clear this rather than spending more time to repeat the whole thing. Luckily, once you're done with Bujin, the game saves this as a checkpoint and you will just restart at the beginning of the next battle. Depending on how safe you play or how comfortable you are with dodging, guarding, or countering for your current class, you might be retrying a lot in this battle. A quick tip for this fight, if you're ranged, then just stay as far as you can while dealing damage. Avoid photon arts that have long animation wind-up or animation locks. If you're melee, you might be touching more grass here than outside. Okay. If you're melee or if you're playing gunner class, just stay at the feet and focus the feet as much as possible. It's the next safest place while being in range to deal damage. Just remember to heal every 2 or 3 hits depending on how much damage you're tanking. Once you've dealt enough damage on the feet, you will eventually proc a physical down. At this point, his core will open on its sides and it's at weak point. Rinse and repeat this process a few times and you'll finish the first phase. So, second phase. If you're a hunter class, you can hold guard and you should be able to survive. Everyone else, proceed to the edge of the map. Now, please. Okay, still alive, baby! Alright, stay with me. Same strat. Range, stay at a safe distance. Melee, you're gonna have to get used to this feat strat, man. It's actually the meta for big bosses like this. So, there's 3 heads now. It's gonna breathe more fire. It's gonna drop more fireballs. Just be aware of where they drop. For the most part though, if you just stay near the feet, it is still the safest place for melee. So just keep up the attacks and you'll eventually clear it. Whew! Okay, we're pretty much ready to move on to the next region. Just make sure to tag the Ryuker in this zone before teleporting back to report. So I'm gonna end the video here. This is way longer than I expected from our roadmap. I will be making a follow-up to this for leveling in the Retem region, so that's something to look out for very soon. I might just do a new class that I've never played from scratch and see how long that might take for a new player to catch up. And if you have found this video helpful, tell your friends to give me a like and then maybe subscribe to my Twitch. But really, thank you for watching to the end and welcome to PSO2 NGS. Okay, bye.